Oh my god, guys, I've had an absolute mare getting on with you guys tonight. I started to go live on my desktop because it's easier and I haven't got to like hold the device. Facebook has been playing silly buggers for a little while now. I'm gonna have to move. So on my mobile device, 1 second. See, I'm not going to leave you down there because that would be ridiculous. But on my mobile device, it was not giving me an option to go live anymore. It was really weird. On my business page, fine on my personal page, but not on my business page. So I started going live on my desktop. So I've just logged onto my desktop to do my live on there again as normal. And now it's not letting me go live on my desktop. So absolute nightmare. Is anybody else having these same challenges as me at the moment with Facebook Lives on their business page? Because now I'm like logged in on my iPad and just trying to get, okay, there we go, totally all prepared for it. Who is joining me? I can see your little eye with the numbers, but I can't see any names. So say hey, so I know who's logged in. And we'll get cracking, I won't keep you waiting. I've had a mare today. My poor dog, Harvey Roo, my little boy, he's been diagnosed with diabetes. I'm gutted. He's going to have injections twice a day for the rest of his life, the vet says. It's horrendous. So not a good day in that sense. And followed by such an amazing high of a weekend as well. And I then started thinking, oh my God, like what have I fed him? Because he has organic food, he's right spoiled. And we've always tried to feed him the best stuff. So don't know why, no idea why. Can everyone see me and hear me all right? Can you interact, give me some hearts? Because I'm not seeing any comments now either. And please shed some light on this for me if you guys have been having Facebook Live dramas as well, because it's been glitchy for me now for weeks. Of all the problems with not being able to go live on my app, now my desktop won't let me go live. I couldn't see comments, still can't see comments or interactions on here while I'm live. I can only see them after. It's been a bloody nightmare. So I'm going to crack on anyway. I can't see anything that you're saying to me. So if I'm being really rude and ignoring you, then I apologise. I'm going to go back to all of your comments at the end. So you know, keep interacting with me and share when I prompt you to share, and I'll come back and respond afterwards. So let's dive in. I've just had the best weekend ever for so many reasons. We have finished some plans, design work for the renovations for the dining room in the house. That's really exciting because that's all coming together. James whisked me off on Sunday to my favourite spa, Shanti Sam, and had massage, yoga, sat reading a book by the fire, really nice food. It was amazing. And broke through a new glass ceiling, created a new normal, if you like, of my first, well, over 100k. It was 168 grand. I put the exact amount in my recent celebratory post. Well over 100 grand profit, 125, and that's dollars, because I think I put it in there on dollars, because I know that sometimes you American friends will say, oh, I don't get it, stop saying pounds. So I put it in there on dollars. So mind-blowing weekend. Now I had quite a few messages, emails, etc. off the back of that, and there was a theme of a question. Well, what did you do? How did you do that? Like, tell me. Some of you said that scale of success, like that amount of money coming in like 48 hours blows my mind. Like, I can't believe that's possible for me. Like, how did you do that? Can you give me some tips? Where do I start? And that's what tonight's about. Now, they're really loaded questions, like really loaded questions, because there is no way that in a very short training tonight I could walk you through exactly what I did from zero right up to having the sort of business that's structured in a way that can give me that sort of output in 2 days. I wouldn't have enough time to do that right now, of course. There's not one thing that makes the difference. It's not even just, you know, a couple of things that I just decided to do on Friday night and then woke up on Monday morning and it happened. It's not as easy as that, and I know you know that. But it got me thinking, because I thought I want to share something with you that will make a big difference. I want to give you the key things that have made the biggest difference in making this happen. And I want to be able to do it for you in a space of time that's reasonable for you to listen, make notes, and give you things that you can go away and action right away, or consider right away, in terms of changing either the way you're doing things or the way you've structured your business to mean that you are set up for this size of a business and you are set up for this scale of success, financial success, and you can do it, you know, make changes really quickly. So I sat thinking, what are the three like big things, the three things that would make the biggest difference for you, no matter where you are in business, in terms of growing a business to this size and doing it quickly. And that's what I'm going to share with you tonight. And let me start by saying that this kind of new normal isn't created overnight. I always liken this to the Harry Potter movies, you know. Comment in the chat box if you've seen Harry Potter and love it. I absolutely love Harry Potter. I'm a bit of a geek like that. And what I always think about when it comes to his movies is how he evolves. So in that first movie, he's this little boy, isn't he? And he doesn't really know much about the powers that he's got, and he doesn't have a lot of confidence in how to use them, and he's scared of everything, and there's no way he could have defeated Voldemort, the baddie, on movie one. He just couldn't have done that. And even thinking about that would have been like completely inconceivable to him. He would have never imagined that was possible for him. But by the end of the movies, he's evolved and he's created a series of new normals. He's defeated other baddies along the way, and he's developed as a person and as a wizard. And in the last movie, he does that. He defeats Voldemort. Now, in movie one, compared to the end of the movie, it's just him going on this journey of development. It's a process of becoming, and it's a stretch, an expansion gradually over time. It doesn't happen in like one boom. So if it feels inconceivable for you right now to think about you being in a place where you could make 6 figures in 2 days, then I want you to know that that's okay. That doesn't mean you're not going to do it. That doesn't mean that you're not destined for that sort of income or success. It just means that there's a few steps between where you are now and where you're going, and that's okay. You know, just know that you're ready for where you're at right now. You're ready for that growth spurt, and there'll be a series of growth spurts between now and then. I can remember my first £3,000 month in business, and to me it was huge, because I didn't believe I could do that. I'd only ever been paid by a job. Somebody had always given me an income rather than me creating my own. So when I realised that first time, oh, okay, I can survive and pay my bills from my business, that was a big moment for me, and that was me creating a new normal. And then the next goal that I had my eye on was 6,000 a month, because it was doubling what I'd ever earned in a job. So that felt like a huge achievement. Imagine if I can earn double the amount that I've ever been able to earn as an employee. And then that became a new normal, and then 10k a month, and then can I do 10k in a week, and then can I do 10k in a day, and then can I do 100 grand, you know? And it didn't just happen, is what I'm trying to say. So wherever you are now, just know that it's totally possible for you to create that level of success, and don't let anybody ever tell you that it's not, because there will be people that do. And there will be moments where you experience imposter syndrome, where you think, oh, yeah, but, you know, your mind starts playing those yeah, but games. Yeah, but that person did it because they're different to me, because they're more confident, or that, yeah, but I'm too this, or I'm not enough of this. That's all bollocks. All of it is BS and just a story you're telling yourself. So let's dive in. The first step I want to share with you, which has made the biggest difference for me, is applying the learn it, master it, leverage it method. Learn it, master it, leverage it. Comment that in the chat box, because I want you to embed these 3 things. Learn it, master it, leverage it. Learn it, master it, leverage it, leverage it. Everything that you need to learn to become an outrageously successful entrepreneur, you can learn. Everything. There is nothing that is outside of what's possible for you to understand and execute. Nothing. Nothing that I do on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis is rocket science. None of it do I require an extraordinary brain. I promise you that, to understand. It is all really easy stuff to learn. But you got to learn it. So that's the first thing. You've got to learn the strategy, the steps to take to grow and scale an online business. And then when you've learnt it, you've got to master it, because knowing it in theory isn't enough. Just kind of reading. Imagine if you're baking cakes, chocolate brownies, because they're my favourite. Imagine if you're baking delicious chocolate brownies and you're doing it for the first time and you read the recipe and the instructions on how to do it. Just because you've read the recipe does not mean you now know how to bake the most delicious chocolate brownies. You've now got to master it. You've got to mix the ingredients together yourself. You've got to put them in the oven, burn your fingers as they go in, taste them and realise they're a bit shit the first time and they didn't rise, or they were too dry, and then try again and again and again, and eventually you master the perfect, most delicious brownie. But you don't master anything until you do it. Get it wrong, tweak, do it again. Business is no different to baking brownies. You've just got to learn the recipe for success, the order that things have to happen and how to do it well, and then you've got to do it and do it and do it. And that's where mastery is formed. Don't slap your business in the face by not giving it the justice it deserves of needing to be mastered. So many people place unrealistic expectations on themselves and their business by thinking that they should be an overnight success and that they should be able to do something once and have results with it. You know, watch this one training on how to produce a funnel and then just suddenly I'm going to have this funnel that brings in 100k weekends. It just doesn't happen like that. It's a process of mastery. You've got to be prepared to master it and then leverage it. So learn it, master it, leverage it. Leverage it, what do I mean by that? I mean, give it to somebody else to do. Because you haven't got to do everything yourself. You can't do everything yourself to get to the bigger volumes of business, because there's not enough hours in the day for you to be the chief everything officer. As Denise Duffield Thomas, who I love one of her books, Chillpreneur, if you've not read it, have a listen. You can't have a listen, have a read. I listened to it. That's why I automatically said have a listen then. But you can't physically do everything yourself. So in the early days, you might be. Budgets might mean that you have to be the chief everything officer doing most things yourself. But that's not a bad thing, because what you don't want to do is do any of these things out of that order. Learn, master, leverage. Because if you try and leverage something before you've mastered it, which I see all the time, people will know something in theory, like do a course, and let's say this course shows you how to develop a consistent flow of leads via Instagram. And you do this course, you sit in class, maybe a virtual classroom online, you take notes and you learn it all in theory and you know what buttons to press, and you think, right, let's have a go, and you have a go and you don't get any results, then you think, fuck this. I'm just going to hire an Instagram manager or an Instagram expert to take care of this for me. They can look at the course and I'll show them how to do it. Now, the problem with that is you've learned it and then you've leveraged it, but the bit in the middle is missing, the mastery. So you can now you can no longer hold somebody accountable effectively, because you can't get the results yourself. So you know it in principle, but you don't know where they might be going wrong in the practical sense. You know, if you've done it yourself and you've got your fingers burnt and you've made mistakes and you've tweaked and changed, when somebody else is going through that process under your supervision and being led by you, you can spot where mistakes are being made. You can say, you might be doing it like this. That happened to me the first time. I can understand why you're not getting the result. You can lead with integrity from the front and get results with your team. they recognise that you know your stuff. They respond differently to a leader that really gets it than they do to someone that's just relying on them to get it for them. Delegation isn't delegation without knowledge. It's abdication of responsibility, and it never leads to anything good. So we must do it in that order: learn it, master it, leverage it. But the other problem that people can have is they'll learn it, master it, and not leverage it. And this can come sometimes from fear of giving up control or a fear of giving up money. It's normally one of those two things. If I don't do it myself, I've got to pay someone to do it. So scarcity mindset can set in. And having a scarcity mindset doesn't grow big businesses. There's an abundance of money, clients, financial success, impact available to you. But if we act like there's not enough to go around, then guess what happens? There's not enough to go around. So if you act like a bit of a tight ass and won't leverage tasks and pay somebody a good amount to do a good job and get you a good result, then you're always going to stay stuck playing really small and limited to the tasks that you can do yourself. The other thing might be control. It might not be about money. It might be the fear that somebody can't do the job the way I can do it. So many entrepreneurs get stuck as service providers or product developers because they don't leverage things. They don't leverage enough tasks, enough of the time. And they get stuck being really, really busy. And within 6 months, they're burnt out, fed up and resenting the business that they once dreamed of running. You can resent anything, even if you love it, if you do too much of it. And entrepreneurs that don't leverage quick enough always get stuck in a plateau, and it's normally around that 10k a month mark. You're lucky to get above that without leveraging at least a little bit, and then you're never really going to leverage beyond the 30-40k a month without really looking at your business and stepping up into the CEO position and not working in your business as much but working on your business. To be achieving those sort of 6-figure months, 6-figure days, 6-figure weekends, you're looking at high-level leadership. You got to imagine yourself as like the puppet master, pulling all the strings and all the right people working in their zone of genius are in the right place. And you're just leading from the front, helping, getting the best out of people, placing people in roles that are right for them, and then helping to motivate and inspire them to do a really awesome job so that you can see those sorts of results for the business on a larger scale. You really can't get too focused in on what your task is and what difference you make in the business. It's not about the tasks that you do in the business at this stage. It's about the tasks that you inspire other people to do really well and hold people accountable to do really well and celebrate when they do, and nurturing a team that feels like a family that are all pushing for the same result. That's where that sort of success comes from. It doesn't come from what you can do in a day. That's why I was able to have the weekend that I've just had, in the sense of how I spent my actual physical time over the weekend at the spa and shopping for the dining room at that retreat place, meeting with designers to talk through the renovation plans, and still deliver that sort of result. Because being a high-level CEO is not about what you do in a day. It's about what you lead a team of people to do. And if you're busy all the time, burnt out, working morning till night, hustling, then you're missing the point on leadership. And that might be your next level of success, learning how to lead. So that comes from the structure of your business as well. The learn it, master it, leverage it model comes from knowing the structure. So when I'm working with a client, the first thing we do is we develop the business plan. And whether I'm working with them in a group, in the Wealth Accelerator, or on a one-to-one, we always start with a business plan, because there is no successful business without a successful business plan. And that plan tells us what the business is going to look like when it's an adult, when it's a leveraged, scaled, big business. Most people are at baby, infant, maybe teenager level at this stage. We develop the adult business plan. So we're nurturing the business and the CEO from that point into the adult business. We've got to know what it looks like to get there. If we don't know what the structure of that business is, and when we draw it out, it looks a bit like a family tree. You've got the CEO at the top, and then you've got all these different people Most of them aren't even hired yet. All of them aren't even hired yet if this is a business that we're building from scratch, from the ground up. But we've got to know what it's going to look like, who's going to do each role, what they're going to be responsible for when it's an adult business, or else we're not growing into the type of business that we need to. It ends up becoming a reactive business, a business that grows in a direction that you never planned for. And that's why so many women find me when it's at a point where they're exhausted and they're like, oh, I've got all the money, but I've got no time, or I've got no money and I don't know what to do with my time. It's always one way or another, and it doesn't have to be a trade-off, but that comes from the business plan. The second thing is multiple income streams. Multiple income streams should be included in that business plan, because having 100k weekend or 100k month, even, you know, that $1 million business mark, it's going to come from, or it should come from, multiple income streams coming in. Because if it's all heavily geared towards one service, one offer that brings in the bulk of the business is always going to be a little bit unstable. You're always going to feel a little bit restless that if something goes wrong over here, then I'm vulnerable. You don't ever want to feel vulnerable. I know that when I'm working with first-time entrepreneurs that are leaving jobs or want to leave jobs and that's their first goal, there's always this sense of, I'm going to be really vulnerable if I'm paying my own bills. They feel safer, ironically, when someone else is paying them from a job. You are safer than you will ever be in any job paying your own bills and paying your own wage, because you're never going to fire yourself. You're always going to act with your best interests at heart. You know, there's going to be no surprises, because you can forecast and project sales and know how much you're going to earn if you've got a solid business plan that's made up of multiple income streams. You're as safe as houses if you have that. But most people don't plan for that in their business plan. And that's okay at first, because I'm not saying you should have multiple income streams from day one. You can do that too soon, I think, and spread yourself so thin. When you're in the learning phase, not the master it and leverage it phase, when you're in that learning phase and master it phase together, and you're learning all these things for the first time, and there's all these moving components that have got to come together, and it feels really fucking hard and confusing, the last thing you want to do is start focusing on 3 businesses, 3 income streams on day one. I'm not suggesting that at all. But I'm saying in your business plan should be built in, when you're growing into that adult structure, multiple income streams that fall under the umbrella of your one brand. They might be different courses, programs, communities, property. It doesn't matter what they are. I get asked this question all the time, like, Michelle, what are your income streams? And they are all of those things, different courses, some passive that don't require me to be present, digital assets, intellectual property that's sold on automation, group coaching programs, one-to-one programs, property, retreats, collaborative partnerships, strategic partnerships with other entrepreneurs where I've invested in their business. Lots of different things. But the point is, none of it happened by accident. It was always a plan. Nothing happens by accident. You might have random opportunities that fall into your lap. Of course, that happens. But when we put out a strong intention to grow into something, where focus goes, energy flows, we always go in that direction. You know, it's like jumping in the car without a sat-nav and not knowing how to get somewhere. You're just going to go around in circles. You've got to know where you're going, and multiple income streams should be part of that plan. Don't get me wrong, you haven't got to know everything. You haven't got to know with rigid detail how your business is going to look, because the most successful leaders are normally the most flexible too. You know, you can be the sort of leader that says, actually, that doesn't serve me anymore. That's not what I want anymore. I'm going to scrap that idea and move into something that's better suited. You can have opportunities that come up that you don't take because they don't fit the bigger purpose, because you'll know what that is if you've got a long-term strategy. But you can also have things that don't fit the bigger purpose, but actually you want to take it because intuitively it feels like a really good opportunity and you've changed your mind. That's okay. But you've got to have that bones of a structure, and it must include multiple income streams. The other reason is because it's exciting. And if you are an entrepreneur, like I know you are because you logged into this now, and you wouldn't be if you're not. You're an entrepreneur at heart, and even if you haven't got a business that's profitable, it calls to you, doesn't it? You can't rest. If you're working for someone else, you never quite feel fulfilled because you know that you're meant for more. And you get excited by new stuff. It's why most entrepreneurs are excited by the thrill of starting something new. And when it's not new anymore, they get bored and they get the urge to set up something else. So having multiple income streams fulfills that need for variety that most entrepreneurs crave. It gives you the stability and it forces you to leverage, because you cannot do everything yourself if you've got your fingers in multiple pies. You can't. It forces you to be the leader that leverages. So many different reasons to have multiple income streams. Number 3, if you're not growing, you're dying. This is the third and last thing that I want to share with you. It's a famous Tony Robbins quote, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I love it because back to what I said at the beginning about Harry Potter and how he evolved across the movies. I want you to imagine now that you're stood at the bottom of a staircase. Close your eyes if you need to. Just go with this for a minute. Just imagine that you stood at the bottom of the staircase, and where you're stood right now, whatever step you stood on, represents where you're at in your business. And that might be right at the beginning with not a client and nothing in the bank and just an idea and no clue how to implement it. That might be where you're at, and that's absolutely fine. You might be a little bit further ahead than that, and your step might represent you've made your first couple of thousand a month and you've got a handful of regular clients and you've got it off the ground. You might be further ahead than that and you're around the 10k a month mark and you've got that 6-figure business, but you're looking to take it to 7 figures. It doesn't matter what it represents. You're at the bottom of a staircase now, and at the top of that staircase is everything that you've ever wanted. See it. See a door at the top of that staircase, and when you walk through that door, that's the destination for you, the ultimate lifestyle, the big vision, the thing that feels a little bit impossible and makes you feel a little bit sick at the thought of not having it all at the same time. You know, the dream that you dare to think of that might even feel a bit silly or make you feel guilty for wanting it. It's that. And all the things that it can give you, not just for you, but for your family as well. Now, the steps in between where you are now and there are made up of a series of new normals that you need to create between where you are now and then. Every step is a new normal. Every step represents you growing and expanding into the next space that you need to. That for me is the definition of if you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not taking another step towards that ultimate vision, then you just stood on this staircase going nowhere fast, and you start to become despondent and almost like there's a lack of purpose and direction, and almost like an entrepreneurial depression can set in when you've not got something that you're striving for. But that growth comes from in here first. The growth that you've got to experience first isn't outside of yourself. It's a process of becoming. It's a process of becoming the person, the leader, the CEO, the entrepreneur with the knowledge, the skill set, the mindset that can have that business. There's nothing that I can say to you tonight that's going to give you that. That is a process of taking those steps on that staircase. There's no shortcut. Yes, some people move up it faster than others because they learn faster than others. They become faster than others. They execute faster than others. But it's still the process. There's no shortcuts. You don't get to jump through a few steps at a time. And even if you tried, you'd end up coming back down because there's lessons to be learned that you can't avoid learning. And some of those are struggles that you've just got to go through. But it's a process. Now, if you're looking for the magic bullet, the one thing that someone's going to say or give you, I could hand you right now the exact blueprint, the structure of my business and everything that's included in it that tells you step by step how to run it so you could implement it into your own business. And yes, of course, that's going to make a massive difference to how quickly you move up that staircase. But if you don't focus on becoming the person that can execute it, master it, implement it, lead a team on that scale, then it's not worth the paper it's written on for you. And that's the truth. So just to quickly recap, 3 of the biggest things that meant that I could enjoy my first 6-figure weekend. Number 1, learn it, master it, leverage it. There's no getting around those 3 steps. Focus on that. What do I need to learn? And then what do I need to absolutely nail and master and get results with? And then who am I going to leverage it to? Who's the best person to do this for me? Number two, multiple income streams. Know the structure of your business when it's an adult, what you're growing into. And does it include multiple avenues of income coming in, and some of them while you're sleeping? Because it's not about how much can I get paid when I'm working. That just gives you a good hourly rate, but there's only so many hours in the day, and you're never going to experience real wealth exchanging time for money. It's about how much money can I earn when I'm not working. That's where we need to be thinking to generate real wealth. And if you're not growing, you're dying. You know, when it comes to that staircase that you're stood on, just accept the fact that a large part of where you are now and getting to that point where you're doing 100k months, which I know is possible for you, by the way. I don't care who you are, where you're logging in from, what you feel is possible for you right now, what your academic success, it doesn't matter. None of that shit's relevant. If I can do it, then so can you. But it's going to be a process of becoming. I actually have, and I want to finish by telling you this because I'm really excited about this. I am going to be, as of next year, at our new home and retreat venue. I'm going to be opening my home for 1 week a year, and that's all, to a very intimate 4 people, so a very small group, and running a move-in with your millionaire mentor experience where 4 people a year can come and work alongside me in my business and shadow me for a week, live with me, eat with me, sit in the hot tub and drink with me, watch the mechanics of my business, see me coach, see me lead my team, see me sell, see me market, just see what I do with my day and what it looks like behind the scenes to run a business of that scale, and how it's different to the business you're maybe running, and plan out together your next phase of growth to grow into that, build the structure of your adult business together. Dates haven't been released yet, so if you're hearing this for the first time pretty much. There's been whispers of this. I think I did one post about it, planting an idea of like, would this be something that you would find useful? And the answer was a resounding yes. So we're going to go ahead and do it. It's a huge deal for me, opening my home and business and like an access all areas type experience. It's something I've never done before on this scale, but I'm excited about it because I know the difference. For me, I'm a really visual learner, and I've often thought throughout my journey, God, I would love to go and like move in with a person that's already there and just watch what they do and how they operate and how they think and the challenges they have and how they overcome them and all of that stuff. So I thought, well, you know, why not create that for the people that need it? Because I know I would have took so much from it if I could have had that opportunity myself. So we're doing it. The best place to be in the know about this, because there's only 4 places a year, they're not gonna stay around for long once they're announced. If you're not already following at That Retreat Place, so That Retreat Place is the Facebook page, That Retreat Place is the Instagram page, thatretreatplace.com is the website. That's where you're going to get the news when those dates go live for the first time. So that's where you'll be able to apply for a space, and it is application only, because you need to be in a very specific place to apply for one of those places, and we'd need to make sure that it was a fit for both of us to work together that intimately for a week. And you know, it's got to be right, hasn't it? Because it is a very up close and personal sort of experience for both of us. So it's got to be right for both of us. So it's application only, but you will receive notification by following those pages of when those applications are going out, so that you can apply, and it will be first come first serve. So if that sounds something that would benefit you, you know what to do. I hope that's been helpful for you tonight, guys, and keep your eyes peeled, because my next goal, and I'll say it now publicly, my next new normal is to do that volume in 24 hours. Do you know, the first time, and this is an upper limit, we all have them, don't we? The first time I did 100k in a month, because that had been such a big goal for me, like that was my big vision goal, and I really had a period of time where I was like, oh, do you know what? I've got no desire to do any more than that. It's cool, it's fine. I don't need any more than that. I don't want any more than that. I don't think I can do any more than that. And my big vision, that was it. Like, that was my adult business. That was all I'd ever wanted. And I had to go back and create this new adult business structure and new vision and it took quite a while to do that, because I had to dig deep to find the why again. Like, why would I want more? And it came back to impact. It came back to this, how selfish would I be to stop now? Because that would mean that I'm not, helping even more people than I could be, So I had to do quite a bit of soul searching on that and reschedule it, replan and re-strategize. And the next thing that I'm going for is 100k days and making them a new normal. So watch this space. Speak to you soon. Enjoy the rest of your evening wherever you are in the world.